What's up, Jet fans? Here's my reaction to the Jets' 2023 schedule. Just a quick thing to note, this is going to be more of a overarching themes and stuff for what I think about the Jets schedule. I will do a game by game win-loss record as the season gets closer. So subscribe to watch that. Last season I got lots of the games correct, especially how crazy the season was. I was pretty proud of myself, so we'll see how I stand up this season as opposed to last season. But anyways, back to this video. So the first thing I want to note, and like lots of people have been saying this, is the Jets have a very hard or relatively hard first 6 games to the bye week. They're playing the two teams that were in the Super Bowl. They're playing the Bills and they're playing the Cowboys. And then of course the Patriots are never easy on the Jets. So that's like, you know, 5 games where you could where the Jets could lose, honestly, and that's a 1-5 record if the Jets beat the Broncos. That's, I think, worst case scenario, but still, that's a very tough first 6 games. And I will say, I don't think Jet fans should overreact, right? If we do go, maybe 1-5 is a problem, but like 2-4 or something like that. And yes, that's not a great start to the season, but the easier games do come at after the bye week. So I do want to say I would not be too worried if the Jets have a losing record to entering the bye week, and then they can take the bye week, prepare, rest, and then they can go at it. And relative to the first 6 games, a pretty easy schedule after that. Um, So yeah, I do just want to caution Jet fans if we lose a bunch of games. Like the opening game, I saw a bunch of people saying, "Oh, it's Aaron Rodgers' debut. He's gonna do great," right? I mean, maybe, but they are also playing the Bills, which is a very good team. They are consistently in the playoffs. They've won the division, the AFC East, a few years in a row now. Josh Allen is probably the best quarterback in the AFC East. We'll see if Aaron Rodgers has anything to say about that. But for right now, I'm going to stick with Josh Allen. So I do think, even if we lose week 1, which would stink still, so I wouldn't be too cautious. I wouldn't be too worried about that if we have a losing record. Also, another overarching theme, right? Like I said, after the bye week, it is pretty easy, and that's actually a good thing in my opinion. Lots of momentum going into the playoffs. If we start winning a bunch of games after the bye week instead of before the bye week, so momentum, that's always a very great thing to have on your side. And then lastly, like the prime time national broadcast games. The Jets have so many this season, and I'm this kind of goes back to my last video talking about how the Jets are no longer the same old Jets. We are now one of the big teams. Aaron Rodgers has done that to the Jets just by coming here, and so I'm very excited to see that we have all these prime time national broadcast games, and I think it's going to change the culture. The NFL, just in general culture about the New York Jets, is going to change because it's going to see Aaron Rodgers and all these great young players do great. So I'm very excited about that, to have a bigger showing and have more viewers watching now the good Jets, not the bad Jets of a few years ago. Um, but anyway, so that's just my overall thoughts on the schedule. And then one thing I want to talk about is the strength of schedule, right? You see here, the Jets are like have one of the hardest schedules, which obviously is not a great thing. But first off, I have a few things with that. First off, this is a little flawed because it's all just based off of last season's standings. So, things change, right? The Jets is considered an easy game by this metric, but I don't think that's really the case anymore, especially with Aaron Rodgers. Um, and then the other thing, right? If playoffs are based off of winning the division, right? Look at the other teams that have a hard strength of schedule. The Dolphins and the Patriots have a harder strength of schedule than the Jets. So the AFC East has a hard schedule. And the only reason the Bills are so low, which I mean is just one lower than the Jets, but the only reason the Bills are lower is because they get to play the Jets, the Patriots, and the Dolphins, and the Jets don't get to play the Jets, right? So, and like I said, that's all based off of last year's standings, and clearly the Jets are a far better team than they were last year. So this is just a really, it's not a bad metric, but like you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's all based off of last season, and of course, and even if you do subscribe to this metric, it's the entire AFC East. So if the entire AFC East has a hard strength of schedule, well, whoever the division winner is gets a home playoff game. So it's really about doing better than the people in your division. And that's just in general. That's not just with the Jets. That's how the NFL works. But of course, when you see the Jets have such a hard strength of schedule, even though they were one of the worst teams last year, it's a little annoying. But still, they have an easier strength of schedule than the Dolphins and the Patriots. And the only reason the Bills have an easier strength of schedule is because they get to play the Jets, which obviously the Jets are not the same Jets from last year. So I did just want to touch on that. Anyways, so that's wrapping up this video. Like I said, I will make a game by game prediction after once the season gets closer. So look out for that. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.